Hello, everyone, and welcome to Redefining the Significance of You Time for You, by you, because of you. My name is Denise Drinkwalter, and I'm a midlife renewal coach supporting women worldwide to lean into and realize the importance of you. This channel aims to provide you, the viewer, with some takeaways that will help you shift, change, reevaluate, and or become way more aware of what is possible for you. We have a variety of incredible guests sharing life experiences that have helped them become the beautiful and incredible human beings that they are today. Every one of us has had that infamous free time where we sometimes or frequently feel guilty or embarrassed or even wrong for taking out time for ourselves. Well, we are here to help you change that, support you to see what is possible for you when you take the time for you, by you, because of you. It is an absolute honor and a privilege to introduce our esteemed guest today, Bracha Goetz. With a multifaceted background, Bracha is a Harvard-educated wellness expert, acclaimed author of, I think, 42 books. Who knows? It could be more now. Dedicated to nurturing children's spirits and a beacon of inspiration for countless individuals seeking transformation and joy. Bracha's journey is as remarkable as it is empowering. Despite grappling with food addictions, she excelled at Harvard, conducting groundbreaking research in eating disorders while silently battling her own demons. Her memoir, Nourish the Soul, Filling the Emptiness Within, candidly chronicles her path to healing and enlightenment. Following her academic achievements, Bracha pursued diverse avenues of growth, attending medical school and a seminary in Israel, where she found spiritual fulfillment. As a mother of 6 and director of Big Brother, Big Sister mentoring program, she has touched lives profoundly, shaping futures and fostering resilience. Now, officially retired, Bracha continues her impactful work, guiding individuals through addiction recovery and empowering them with happiness skills that transcend generations. With over 68 years of rich life experiences, Bracha's wisdom and compassion have touched hundreds of thousands of lives, illuminating pathways to fulfillment and resilience. So, such an honor today to have you here with us, Bracha. I can't wait to get into our conversations today. Thank you for joining us.
Oh my gosh, Denise, that was the most beautiful introduction ever. I, you are a writer. I can't believe what you wrote. That was so beautiful. I was like, I'd like to meet that person too, you know?
It always sounds so different when other people speak of us, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, it was a real joy, I'm telling you. No, I felt like I kind of died. It was my funeral. It was like, whoa, this is so nice, you know. No.
Well, it really, honestly, you have done such incredible work, and I know without a doubt it comes from your heart.
That is true. Comes from my soul, you know. And I think you know this. Whenever we help other people,
Hmm.
that our souls shine even more. So it's it's selfish too. I mean, it gives us so much joy helping others. So it gets us really shining as brightly as possible. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your journey, because you did reference you had an eating disorder and was almost like you were hiding from it. Can you give us a bit more? Because I will not be surprised if there are people in our audience who can really, unfortunately, relate to that. And maybe that spark will help them see possibilities. Yeah.
Addictions of all kinds. Addictions are practiced in secret. Nobody knows how you are suffering. I looked like a success on the outside. Inside, I was getting more and more miserable. Here I was like, I became an expert at Harvard in eating disordered behavior while I was getting sicker and sicker the whole time. And an intellectual understanding is not enough. It wasn't
Mm.
enough to help me get better. And in fact, of course, I was interested in it, so I was studying it and doing breakthrough research. But unfortunately, the behaviors get more and more bizarre as a person becomes trapped in their addiction. And addiction is like a prison, and the walls get narrower and narrower as a person continues in their addiction. So it's a terrifying place to be. And I would describe it also as it was a time when the world became gray. Like morals no longer mattered to me. My life no longer had meaning. Everything lost its value. An addiction takes over your life little by little. It takes over. So when you begin to heal from an addiction, the colors start to return. It's like the colors come back into life. That's how it felt to me, the healing process. Yeah.
I can visualize and I can feel it, what you're speaking of, from gray to color,
Yes.
and how you lost, the walls went up.
Yes.
How on earth did you begin to recognize? Because I know the women that I work with, awareness is the start. Because if we're
Yes.
not aware, we can't make change.
Exactly. Becoming aware. I knew that I was suffering. I finally went to a therapist when I was in medical school and told the therapist everything I was doing. I shared it. That was a really big help. And the surprise to me was that the therapist's response to me was, I know you think like you're like in a very, very sick place, but I feel like there's like a spiritual understanding that you're seeking. And if you find that, I think that's going to be part of your healing. This was amazing. This came from this therapist. I don't know how the therapist saw that in me, but it really was the case. That's really what healed me. And what I found, this is based on ancient spiritual wisdom, but it applies to everybody. When we're in an addiction, we're desperately looking for externalities to fill the emptiness within. No matter what the addiction is, whether it could be food, it could be drugs, alcohol, gambling, shopping, no matter what, we're trying desperately to fill that emptiness, and it brings immediate gratification, but it doesn't last. What we're looking for is lasting pleasure. We feel us when we get into an active addiction when we feel a scarcity of pleasure in our lives. So why not just keep stuffing my face if there's not enough pleasure in my life? It's giving me pleasure immediately. The answer is, what I finally found is that gratitude is what fills that hole within. And this is across the board. It's what actually nourishes our hungry soul.
Beautiful. Gratitude nourishes our hungry souls. Ah, beautiful. I love that. That's so powerful because we have all that we need within inside of us to do that work.
Exactly. We all have it. I'm going to my memoir. It's called
Yeah.
Nourish the Soul, Filling the Emptiness Within. This is my only book for adults. It's my journey. It's my candid
Can
journey.
Can you put it right in front of the camera? There, yeah,
Here we go. No, wait a minute. There we go. Nourish the soul. Okay. Filling the emptiness within. This is, it's the only book. I didn't really write it. I compiled it. It's actual diary entries, beginning with age 12, and it goes all the way up to actually to age 32. It goes 20 years of my life, so that you see me gradually developing the food addictions and then the healing process. You see it through my diary entries, then my journal, then letters, and I filled in the missing pieces so that a person actually experiences the food addictions along with me. It's a very raw book. It goes through the lowest points of my life, and also then climbing higher, how I climbed out of that through nourishing my hungry soul. We all have genuinely hungry souls. That's the thing. That's the awareness, to recognize that it's real, and then to be able to learn the skills and practice gratitude, and it gets easier and easier, so that we can actually nourish our genuinely hungry souls. Yeah.
So is there a certain practice, or is there a certain technique that you can share with us that we can, because if this is resonating like it's resonating for me, I'm like, I want to know more. And at the beginning, you also shared, which I want to come back to after you answer the first question. So I won't keep piling. Let's just start with the first question, which is, what are some things that you could suggest that will help our audience go, oh, well, I could try that?
Excellent. So I want to talk about the pleasure ladder. It has 5 rungs on it, but I also want to mention some basic questions that I still ask myself if I ever feel like overeating, because I'll have that tendency. So let's say I've had a good nutritious meal and I still feel like overeating. Why? Because I want more pleasure. So I will say to myself, is it your body that's hungry or your soul? And right away, what happens is those neurons that are firing in the amygdala here, the fear and flight response, they're saying, you need more. You got to keep eating. There's not enough pleasure. They start, if I ask that question, the neurons go all the way up here to my prefrontal cortex, and suddenly I'm thinking, I have the awareness, oh, my body isn't really hungry. It's my soul that's hungry. And I could ask other questions too. If I have 95 more spoonfuls of this ice cream, will I then be full? I know already I won't. I'll still be hungry. I'll be even more hungry after I finish the whole container of ice cream, or the whole box of chocolate chip cookies, or the whole bag of potato chips. I'm left feeling emptier than the bag. That's what you feel like afterwards. So to remember that those are the kind of questions that you ask, and it's really helpful. So the techniques I learned were in the pleasure ladder. Again, this is not my creation. This is from ancient mystical wisdom, but the 5 rungs correspond to our 5 fingers. It's showing us we have the power in our own hands to bring pleasure into our lives at any moment. It's within our power. So the 5 levels correspond to the 5 levels of the soul. The lowest level of the soul is the part that's attached to our body. And it gets pleasure from all the natural physical pleasures, like all the natural foods, being in nature, moving our bodies. That's why we get pleasure when we're dancing or doing yoga or gardening or swimming, music, all these pleasures that our senses enjoy. They were designed for us to enjoy. And when we experience any of these pleasures with gratitude, that nourishes our body and our soul. That's the lowest level of pleasure, the physical level.
Okay, can you put it in front? There we go.
Let me try. There we go.
Perfect.
Wait a minute. Okay, good. Yeah, and the next level up is love, and that is surprising because you think you need somebody else to give you love. How could that be empowering? How could it just be within your own hands to bring love into your life? Because the ancient definition of love is focusing on the virtues of another. So even in prison, even in the prison of an addiction, or even in a real prison like in solitary confinement, a person could think of a grandmother that once did a kindness for them, and they are suddenly uplifted.
Mm,
Yes, they're filled with a warm emotional feeling that inspires them to be better. We can bring love into our lives at any moment. We have that power just by focusing on the virtues of another, which is amazing. And
yes.
higher than that is meaning, doing something good and meaningful. We all know that. Each of these levels is a higher level of the soul that we're nourishing. And each one up brings more connection. First, we're connecting to a natural thing, like an orange. Next, we're connecting to another being. Now we're connecting out into the world, doing something good and meaningful. I was on a show, and the host said um, he was feeling miserable and lonely, and he finished 2 slices of pizza, and he was about to plow through the whole box of pizza by himself. There was a knock on his door, and his neighbor needed his help for 2 minutes. When he came back, he didn't want the pizza anymore. Why not? Because he had filled up, grateful that he could help another person. It's that gratitude that fills us up, that it's an instantaneous thing. He put the rest of the pizza in the fridge for another day. That's really what fills us. So even higher than meaning is creativity, which is surprising, but it's when you put that unique part of yourself in the world. And when you are busy being creative, I'm sure you know this, Denise, you don't feel like eating or sleeping. Like, yeah, time, you're beyond time. It doesn't matter. It's such a high when we're being creative, no matter how we're being creative. So it's an amazing thing. Again, it gives us even more connection into the world when we put that inner part of ourselves out there in gratitude, so grateful to be able to share. And the highest level of all is called transcendence. It's
Mm,
when we so gratefully make that first crack in a bad habit. We transcend our own limitations. We connect to who we really are.
mm,
We connect to our soul. We it's also we transcend the limitations between us, and like we lift the veils of separation so that we see that we're all connected. We're never alone, really. We're never alone. And and the source energy is flowing through all of us, the same source energy flowing through all of us. That's the highest level of all. When we feel that, it's like,
mm,
yeah. So we can get on any one of these levels at any moment. There's only one price to pay to climb the ladder, and that is gratitude. It's
mm,
gratitude that fills us up, and it works. So any moment that we spend being grateful is a moment that we're not being miserable. It's it's
mhm.
it's that, yeah.
So powerful. And it's right here. Let me
Yes.
get in front of the camera, isn't it? It's right
Yes.
there.
Yes.
It lives in all of us.
Yes.
It's the opportunity to use gratitude to refocus and reshift.
Yes, exactly. And we I give this to them. We all have a shining soul. We all have this, but we go through traumas in life, abuse, neglect, And we put coverings over ourselves
Mm.
so we don't get hurt. These are coping mechanisms. We've all learned these things, addictions, whatever it is. So we need help from people like you to help us, give us support so that we can be shining again. We don't even realize that we're still shining until we get help removing it, removing the extra layers, and nourishing ourselves from within. How
Mm.
do we nourish? This is how we nourish, by doing all these wonderful things that bring us compassion and recognize all the loving kindness that is in this world. And through gratitude, this is how we integrate it into ourselves, so we get the nourishment that we all need.
Can it be a journey that ends up being lifelong? You mentioned I still have moments where I have to step back and go, wait a minute, start asking myself. So there is no, I'm going to make it very simple here and say there is no finish line. And isn't that beautiful? Because we have the opportunity to take our power back every single day that we choose to.
Exactly. Exactly. If we didn't have a mission any longer, we wouldn't be here. Oh, I have this on my fridge. Here is a test to find out if your mission in life is complete. If you're alive, it isn't. We have so much to do here still. We're always being challenged to become better us, whoever
Mhm.
we are, to to refine this soul, to nourish it more, to shine even brighter in the world. And that's why it's why I write the books for children too, because I'm teaching these happiness skills to children in as early in life as possible, but it's never too late to learn them, ever. And whenever we learn them, we can have more joyful lives from then on. Yes.
And it's within our power to do so. It's not from
Yes.
external, it's all within us.
Exactly. We were given those abilities. We are here to overcome these challenges. One of my newest books is called Don't Read This Book. This is a book for it. It's told in the voice of the inner critic. We
Yeah.
all have an inner critic in our brains. And what is this inner critic saying? It's saying to all of us, oh, you should be miserable. You don't have this. You don't have that. You're lacking this. You're missing that. It's saying different things to each of us because it knows what each of us, where our weak spots are, but it's saying the same type of thing. So I'm teaching this to children early on. They can be aware when they hear, I need this, I need that, I'm lacking this, I don't feel as good as that person. Recognize that's not you. That's that voice. That's that inner voice that is trying to make you miserable. But really, that voice doesn't want you to listen to it. It doesn't want you to read this book on purpose, because that's why it's saying don't read this book, because then you're going to learn my tricks. This book gives over all the tricks of how to outsmart that inner critic. And then you can learn that when you hear that voice, you can say, oh, it's you trying to make me miserable. Instead, I'm going to be grateful for what I have right now. And you can refocus, like you said, reframe and refocus. And this is the amazing thing. It took me 30 years to write this book. Why?
Mm.
Because I had the title, I had most of the book written, but I didn't have the surprise ending, which is this. That voice, it really doesn't want you to listen to it. It's really a personal trainer. It's like those weights that we lift and we push them off and we say, I'm not going to listen. I'm going to be grateful. And then that's how we grow our gratitude muscles, pushing off those weights and practicing gratitude in the face of all our challenges.
Perfect. Because it's like you said, you push away, but you've got to fill that void that you're feeling exists while you do that with all of the things you've talked about today. And I know there's so much potential for everyone who hears our conversation today. And if this is resonating with you, please reach out. We have put in the show notes all of your content, how to access all these books that you've created. I'm going to get my hands on your Nourish the Soul. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
Can't wait to read it. Absolutely. Are there any closing comment you want to make sure our listeners hear?
Yeah, I want to say that also on my website, you can download a free chart of the pleasure ladder, a really beautiful chart that explains the abundance available on every level, because there's an abundance, there's no scarcity. And once we recognize that, that's what changes our lives, recognizing the abundance. And we keep re-recognizing, like I say, it'll still come up to me. I'll still have that urge to overeat sometimes. And I'll remember. We just have to keep reminding ourselves. That's what we're here for, to keep remembering to live a life of gratitude. Yeah, so that's the important. And you could download it and put it on your fridge or your cabinet, wherever, to remind you, the chart of all the different ways, the abundant ways that you can bring pleasure into your life at any moment.
Incredible. At the beginning, you were talking about it's not just about the intellect. It's good to know, but practicing is where the rubber meets the road. That's where changes happen. And I am so grateful that you had the therapist that you did. There was a reason why you two were aligned, because she saw the light within you, which allowed that conversation to drop that seed of possibility, and everything has grown from there. So we are all connected, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to share this space with you. What an honor to have this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Happy.
Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you.
I look forward to seeing how all these books continue to come forward. I look forward. I'm going to grab that other new book about Don't Open This Book. I'm excited about it. Oh my goodness. It's perfect. Please make sure you visit her website. It's in the show notes. And if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, do it right now. You don't want to miss any of these incredible people that are out in the world doing beautiful things, creating new energies that we need across our universe. So thank you again so much, Bracha, and we will continue to stay in touch. Have a good day, everyone.